drink this potion. It's like union here.
So, as tragic as the end of Hamlet's life is, it's more thought-provoking to look at all the actions throughout his life. Basically, really soon after his father died, his mother Gertrude married his uncle Claudius, and then Hamlet opposed to this marriage really ardently.
Yeah, like he decides to make these like really hasty decisions and blame it on his mom. We could see this when he says, "Oh, wicked speed to pose with such dexterity to incestuous sheets." Instead of stopping and thinking of reasons why his mother married Claudius, he starts making conclusions out of nowhere and thinks that his mom has ulterior motives against him. Also, even though he's around 30 years old, he acts like a child.
Yeah, and even though it's natural to want to protect your father's position, Hamlet does not even give Claudius a chance to prove his worth.
Yeah, normally men who want to stay strong and attempt to get past the situation they have gone through, they usually have this mindset where they have to like push on through, but instead Hamlet has this focus on the past and it consumes him, and thus we could see that it's his id this whole time. Because there's no reason to it. He is not moving forward. He is moving backwards.
My lord, I have remembrances that I have longed to endure. I pray you now receive them.
No, not I. Never gave you aught. Are you fair?
What, my lordship?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty, my lord, be more commerce than with honesty?
This was a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I loved you once.
Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
I loved you not.
The more I was deceived.
Get thee to nunnery, for if thou feelst need to marry a fool, for a wise man will know well enough what monsters you can make of them.
Heavenly powers, your decisions are wavering. At first he talks normally to Ophelia, but then he suddenly has a complete change of heart. He not only denies having ever loved her, but also he goes on to attack other women in general, like his mother. The fact that he allows his instincts to lead his behavior is what makes it evident that his character embodies the id.
Yeah, moreover, when he's presented with this situation, he never considers to talk to Ophelia about his problems. Instead, he just goes and makes these elaborate plans to fix the issue. And thus, childish and irrational behavior just causes him to be to show more signs of the id. But the question we still need to try to figure out is there a balance to all this id inside of
I think Hamlet is immature for a 30-year-old.
Well, I think partially he may be acting more immature than he actually is, on purpose to make people think he's crazy. But I do think that he's had some traumatic things happen in his life where anybody would resort back to acting like a child. The child wants to be kind of taken care of, is afraid of the unknown, that kind of thing. And so Hamlet, I think, is kind of resorting back to those personalities because of the stress from the death of his father.
doomed to serve her to walk the night before the day could find, to fasting fire till without times done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. Listless, oh list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love. Oh God, revenge his soul in the most unnatural murder. Murder? But no, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wills his life.
Something I found really interesting was how before Hamlet encountered the ghost, like bad stuff just kept piling, and he was just going through this downward, spiral of depression. But after he encounters the ghost, he gives him a task, and Hamlet has to set his mind on something. So it gives Hamlet a purpose for throughout the play.
The ghost also kind of serves as a conscience in a way, because especially when he's about to do violence on his mother after he does kill Polonius, the ghost chides him, and says, "Don't! I told you not to hurt your mother." And so the ghost, in the one sense, is guiding him to, on the one hand, forcing him to action, and also steering him away from things that would potentially be harmful, like obviously hurting Gertrude. And in terms of, looking at it from a kind of broader psychoanalytical perspective, it's almost as if the ghost becomes his ego.
Peace, sit you down and let me wring your heart, for so I shall if it is made of penetrable stuff. Unless damned customs haven't brazed it so it be proof and bulwark against sense.
What have I done that thou darest wag your tongue in noise so rude against me?
Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling smells everything, but of one sickly part of the sense that could not so mope.
These words like daggers, they enter in my ears. No, sweet Hamlet.
Do not forget, this visitation is but to whet thy own most blunted purpose. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul.
Do not look upon me, lest with piteous action you convert my stern effects.
To whom do you speak?
Do you not see nothing there?
No, nothing but ourselves.
And Mr. Kramer, what is your opinion on the ghost?
That's a good question. The ghost, I do think that he puts a little bit too much on Hamlet. I mean, it's not really Hamlet's problem so much that, he has to avenge the ghost. But on the other hand, someone has to avenge his death. And Hamlet certainly kind of does things that the ghost doesn't ask for him to do. The ghost doesn't ask him to be crazy. He asks him to avenge his death. Hamlet drags his feet. So on the one hand, it's a little bit, I think, too much of a burden for Hamlet to have put on him that the ghost asked him for. But, Hamlet doesn't handle it in the best way either.
Hamlet still has these absurd accusations towards his mother, and there's no respect between the two. Even though he's still acting irrational with his behavior, there is something a little bit different about it this time.
In this situation, the ghost of King Hamlet appears as the ego of the whole situation. He compels Hamlet to look at the situation and not blame his mother Gertrude for everything that's happening. So he allows Hamlet to be focused on one path and not just instinctively follow the id that's inside of him. So he's there to, they balance each other. And
so this displays that the ghost acts as the ego and allows Hamlet to curb the id inside of him. So it's safe to conclude that the ghost, acting as the ego, balances the id that runs wild in Hamlet.